Hello, ladies and gentlemen, to what I'm going to be talking about today. It's a bit of a weird intro. Welcome to the midlife crisis of the zombies community again. We're coming up to our next game. We're probably halfway through the promotion material, and we're here. And there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of drama going on, and we are going to be discussing some of that drama. And I think you all know the drama I'm going to talk about is the starting loadouts versus starting weapons debate. What other drama's going on right now? You know, that's the only drama going on. We're not gonna talk about the other drama here. This is a nice chill spot. Don't talk about the other drama. Anyways, this has been a very interesting topic that I've seen discussed, and I just don't get it. So you might be wondering what I'm doing just in this game real quick, what you're seeing. I just have to complete 5 contracts in Xville for this Conquest challenge. If you look at my top of my track challenges, it's the very last challenge I need to do. So that's just there to exist whilst I'm talking to you all. There's nothing too exciting besides me doing contracts. It's better than looking at my ugly face and that bad webcam constantly. So as I start up my first contract, the thing, I understand the argument of starting weapons versus starting loadouts. Old-timers, of course, really enjoy the idea of starting weapons. It makes those earlier rounds challenging. You don't feel like you've got a powerful weapon straight away that you can just annihilate all zombies in. By the way, talk about 9 zombies. Where are my zombies? I've had nothing this entire time. Anyways, besides the point. I understand like starting weapons, starting with the 1911 in most maps, a couple different weapons in other maps like the is it called Bloodhound in Shadows of Evil, and the OSA in what map was it in? Zombies in Spaceland? No, not Zombies in Spaceland. Infinite Warfare. What's the final map called? Oh god, you start with the OSA in one of the maps, which is like an assault rifle. And I understand that people want you to build up to get better weapons. You shouldn't have like the best weapon in the game straight away, and the 1911 or whatever weapon you had in the Stein map, you kind of got rewarded for having that weapon all the way up to Pack Punch, because then it becomes like the most powerful weapon, like the Mustang and Salus and things like that. And I did this whole contract by killing 3 zombies, so the easiest contract in existence. Just picking up my second contract now of the challenge. It should be over this way, right? Nope, oh, wrong way, this way. It can be that way, I swear, I know the game. Oh, it's a nice car here, we'll take the car, I understand the people who also want starting loadouts because, and this is to be fair, the idea of zombies getting stronger exists, don't get me wrong. But you're always going to end up in the same place. You always know what weapon you want to get. If it's a weapon that you can get from a quest, you're always going to get that weapon as long as you're semi-decent at the game. So it just kind of cuts away some of the fluff. And if one of the guns is like if one of the best guns in the game is from the mystery box, you're just going to keep spinning that mystery box until you get it. And sometimes if you don't get it, then it just feels like a waste of time. My perfect example for that is everyone in BO4 wanting the healing salvo. So everyone would spin the box of the healing salvo, and if they didn't get the healing salvo, it just felt like that game was a waste of time. Now, some of the more hardcore players might say you just have to adapt with whatever weapons you have, which is a fair argument, completely fair argument. Not going to argue against that. But I do feel like we need a middle ground of the two. I don't think one's better than the other per se. It's just more of a game design choice of which one you would prefer. And I honestly think just the argument over it is kind of dumb in a sense, because Cold War, if I started with, let's say, the 1911, I did that on the first day and the game wasn't difficult. Like, it didn't get much harder from me using a 1911 to a shotgun or whatever. And the reason why I used the 1911 first is because I thought, oh, I better do my pistols first for the camo grind. There's no weapons in Cold War that I'd argue felt bad in the first few rounds and would have made it even more difficult. I'd also say that BO4 which did have Stein weapons, was never difficult unless you chose the Essex, I think it was. Like the Essex model was terrible. But that also wasn't the default Stein weapon. The default Stein weapon was the Strife, which I could put stiletto knife on, and knife all the zombies like one hit to like round 8 or whatever, something ridiculous. I know there's been someone in the comments saying, well, actually it's round 4 or something. I don't care. It was super easy to use, and that was BO4 again with a Stein weapon, super easy. Alright, let's just pick up our 3rd contract. Just pick that up. So I was attracted to my vehicle. Do you like my car, zombies? Die. 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 Just seems like it's over there. In my personal opinion, I think Black Ops 2 has a great example of what we should do with Stein weapons and Stein loadouts. Now you might be like, Black Ops 2 literally just had Stein weapons. What do you mean? Yes, they did, but they also had this fridge feature, which... I think it wasn't a fridge in every map, right? It was a fridge in Transit. What was it in Die Rise? Die Rise was a shower, I want to say. And Buried had... Was it like a lockbox? I actually do not know how to get your weapon in Buried, thinking about this off the top of my head. Anyways, what it would be like a weapon locker, which you could put any weapon in and store it. So let's say I was playing Transit, and I put in the pack-punched hammer, which usually would be my go-to choice. I love the hammer. I think hammer was in Transit. If not, it was definitely in Die Rise. And I'd keep it in there. And then the next game you go into a map of Victor's Crew, you could simply pick up that gun from where it was. You'd keep the same pack-punch, or keep the same ammo. So if you had like no ammo in it, you'd have no ammo in this new one. So... kind of a waste. And if the weapon wasn't in the other map, so for example, if you put the revolver from Buried in there, if you then went to Transit, you'd be given, I think, a different type of pistol. I could be wrong on that, but you'd get a different type of gun. Now, I'm not saying to keep that exact system in place. Like, I'm not saying you should be able to carry weapons throughout games, but that would also be pretty sick if they did that. Instead, what I want to say is you have your loadouts. So in your menus, you have your wands, you have your starting weapon, you know, you pick all that selection. I think you don't pick your tacticals, right? Do you pick your tacticals and lethals in Cold War? No, I think you just picked your Stein weapon and your wand, right? Your field upgrade, essentially. What I would like to see is you start with a Stein weapon. We'll just say the 1911 in this case. Or pistol, something equivalent. They could also make it start bare hands, like they did in Raven the Redwoods, and you had to like scavenge for... I don't know you use that pistol. And instead, what I think you should do is you pick all that, and there's a locker somewhere on the map that you have to go to then pick it up. So you have your 1911 and then you go get your loadout essentially from somewhere. A bit like how Warzone, you would get these loadout crates. Oh, there's a guy here. Kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him. Yeah, get got. I've never done this Easter egg with the transmissions. I know it opens like a cool little bunker like down over here in the manor. But I've never done it. I know you gotta like do the radio from this guy and the radio like from a guy up here. And there's another place, right? Oh, and there's like a disciple in like a hut somewhere. So yeah, never done it in my life. Right, we're just gonna pack a punch now. Just gonna punch the machine. I mean, I just buy it, but I'll use a crystal. And look, you keep your camo. So if you're doing your little kill challenges, you can do that. So like, where you need to get kill like 1,200 with this camo on, you can do it like this. If you didn't know that little cool trick. I hope you did know that cool trick though, because I think it was in Cold War as well. But there you go for anyone who didn't know. Right, we are about to pick up our 4th contract of 5. It's probably going to take me to this one now, over here. That Galway zombies. Isn't, I swear that is a spot over there. But as I was saying about the loadouts, what I'd like you to do is like pick let's say, for example, I'm going to use Cold War in this. You start with a 1911. You have picked to bring into the game through your starting loadouts, a Gala, and we'll say Healing Aura. You do your power. So power would normally take you, I'd say on average, in most maps, getting to power is round 1 to round 5, maybe a bit later on some maps. Don't think you probably can get there early on some maps, but the average player would take round 1 to round 5 to get to power. If you're better, it would be shorter. If you're more casual, maybe longer, because maybe you're just trying to kill zombies as quick as you can and just reach power whenever you can actually reach power. And then in older maps, you would then focus on getting Pack-a-Punch, which I'd say for most maps it was round 6 to round 8, we'll say. Sometimes it'll be immediately after power, like D Machine was just immediately after power, and it wasn't too difficult. What I'm saying is in between power and pack, let's add the adventure to get a starting weapon, or the weapon you brought for your loadouts. So let's say round 1 to 5 is getting power. Getting your weapon is going to be your focus from round 6 to anywhere between round 8 and round 10 on average. And then getting Pack-a-Punch is your focus between round 8 to round, we'll say, 12 to 14 maybe. You know, not too high. I won't say any higher than round 15. I feel like you should have your Pack-a-Punch, you have your power, and you have your starting weapon. I know your starting weapon, your loadout you brought in by round 15. So you're just adding a little thing to the mix on the early rounds by going on the adventure to get the weapon you want. And then you're not relying on the mystery box to get it. You're not relying on RNG to get it. And you have everything you want right there and there. You also won't have your field upgrade straight away. But I don't feel like field upgrades in early rounds make a difference. Like, I don't think Healing Aura on the early rounds or Ring of Fire or any of those field upgrades generally made a difference to the early round experience, because I feel like you only get one before, let's say you get Pack-a-Punch. I feel like you don't kill enough zombies to get it often in the early rounds, and what you're going to do with any of those field upgrades in those early rounds, the only thing I could think of is make yourself go invis. You don't have to deal with zombies whilst doing, like, getting Pack-a-Punch or something like that. So it's never really necessary to have your field upgrade that early anyways. Let's take this portal. Ooh, we're going the wrong way. I want to go this way. I want to head towards, like, the exfil and do a contract up here, so then we can just do a contract and exfil straight away, and that should be the challenge done then. I don't want to hang around too much longer than that. Right, we are riding up to our final contract, boys, for this challenge. Just skirt. Okay, I didn't scare as much. Get out of the vehicle. Get the contract and get away. Come on, let me in, let me in, let me in. I wish you'd let me in whilst I'm, you know, clicking about with a contract, you know, it'd be nice, it'd be nice. Right, we are rolling in on this final contract. Activating, there we go. So yeah, I think that this complete drama of starting weapons versus starting loadouts, I get it, hardcore players want the more difficult experience, but I also think that we have to agree that it is irritating when, let's say I'm playing Black Ops 4 and I've got to keep spinning the mystery box to finally get the weapon that I want. Now you might argue, well, maybe you shouldn't just always get the weapon you want to provide a challenge. I get that, but we're in an age now where there's camo challenges which constantly, you know, take over everyone's mind nowadays. There's Easter egg quests, and it'd always be just neat if, let's say you're a speedrunner, if there's a certain weapon you want, you can get that through like a small quest in between power and Pack-a-Punch, than having to spin the mystery box, hope you get the weapon you want, so that you can officially complete the speedrun, you know? So I think it's a win-win for both player bases. Not only would a starting weapon mean that you have to do this small Easter egg at the start, it also means that early rounds would be more difficult. And you are still slowly building yourself up. The slowly building yourself up goes from having a starting weapon to then doing power to then getting the weapon that you'd have had as a starting weapon instead, but through the loadout system. And then you're getting Pack-a-Punch. It's the same basic trail, except instead of looking out in the mystery box, you're getting the weapon you want, so having to wait for RNG to give you that weapon you desire. So I think it's a win-win. Let me know what you think about that idea. I think that idea is probably the best direction, and it's a good like appeasement for both player bases, because you're not giving up starting weapons, you're just having to get that weapon through a small quest, and you're also not giving up like the weapons that you bring in, because you can get that weapon basically from the quest. You have your starting weapons, you have your loadouts. The loadouts just come slightly later on, so you're not mowing zombies down with a shotgun on round 1, which I think probably provides a bit more difficulty, as long as like the 1911 isn't just OP like it was in Cold War. Like 1911 was not too difficult to use, even on round 1 or round 2. I mean, I could use a non-Pack-a-Punch in 1911, or not 1911. Was it 1911? Whatever the weapon was in Cold War, I think it was in 1911. You could simply use that weapon forever without Pack-a-Punch it, or adding any tiers to it. I swear, try it now if you don't believe me. If you're a hardcore player, and you're saying starting weapons make this game too easy, load up Cold War with 1911, and you'll realize that the 1911 isn't that bad of a weapon. So if you started with 1911 in Cold War, it would have made zero difference at all. So maybe if the weapon that you start with is weaker, I guess, maybe that'll also please the hardcore player base. Anyways, we've done this 5 contracts now. We're here at the exfil, so all we need to do is get through this exfil, and this should be the challenge completed. So hopefully I don't die. There's also right now coming up a teaser, a gameplay trailer, I believe. I'm actually recording this a few hours before that happens. I don't know if I've done anything for it. I don't know if I'm going to do a reaction to it. I don't know if I'll do a live stream to it. Sometimes I just find people that do reaction stuff and things like that a little bit cringe. It's normally all these like big content creators, small content creators as well, just going, "Oh my god, that's amazing!" And it's just like some guy spinning the mystery box or Juggernog appearing on the screen during the machine thing. Like, "Oh my god, there's perks! Oh my god, there's gonna of course be perks. What's that? There's a gun in the game? Oh my word!" Anyways, we've done this, so hopefully it counts it as completed. I don't know if it'll pop up whilst I'm exfilling or not. Hopefully it does. Or I'm gonna have to show in the menus, I guess. But hopefully it's done now, the challenge. Come on, have I done it? Oh, that's it. Yeah, we got a token. I don't think that's the token from completing the challenge though, right? Wait, it didn't pop up. Did I do the challenge? Did it not count? Wait, what's going on here? Do we have to do it again? Is it? I have to do it another time. I have to do it twice? I have to do it twice? I'm so done with this game.